Hey there, this is DJJJ on the DJJJ show. This is episode number 4, and so far the show's just kind of been me hanging out in my studio, out in my garage, playing a bunch of records, and I think that's what I'm going to do today. I've got my dog Wally with me. He's hanging out. We got the big industrial fans on to keep the air circulating. I'm sure you can hear their ambient hum in all the episodes, but, you know, production value-wise, we can only go up from here, so let's get the record started today. We're going to listen to Him with the song Liberation Part 1 off of the album Our Point of Departure, and I'll be back after that.
Bye.
Hello again, and welcome back to the DJJJ Show, episode number 4. I am your friend, DJJJ, and that song that we just heard was by The Person, and it's called Planet Beach. Big fan of that record by The Person. Let me grab it. Take a look at it. Yeah, I do play all these songs on vinyl records so far, in case you were wondering, and if you ever hear these wrinkly sounds like that, I'm probably picking up a record to look at it and give you some information. I'm not just in here eating snacks. I would do that during the music anyway, when you can't hear me. Let's see. Yeah, that's The Person, and the album's called Tide Life, and once again, that song was called Planet Beach. That one came out this year, 2021, on Growing Ben Records. I think it may have been like a reissue from a tape that came out a year ago or something like that, but she is very cool. Minna White is the lady's name that makes the music as The Person. But yeah, great record if you like that kind of fun, whimsical, almost like, childish sounding or like childlike sounding keyboard music. Good times. And before that, you heard a song from Him called Liberation Part 1, and that's not the, there's like a heavy metal hymn. I'm not real sure what they're all about. Both bands had the same name, but this is the one that was kind of late 90s, early 2000s out of Chicago. Had a couple connections to like Tortoise and June of 44, but like really good kind of Afrobeat fusion, sometimes even into like free jazz, dub territory. They're a good band. They've got a run of good records. That's the Our Point of Departure album. I really like New Features a lot, and Many in High Places Are Not Well. I've recently found some of my old CDs of those, and great band, great records. If you like jazz, dub, experimental, kind of thrill jockey, Chicago-ish sound from the early 2000s. Worth checking out. Hard to hunt down copies on vinyl, but I'm looking for them. You look for them too if you like that stuff. Anyway, me and Wally are out here hanging out in the garage today, playing you some more records, just cranking out the DJJJ Show episodes for you. Next up, let's see, I was listening to this Alan Watts lecture this morning. I'm not usually the kind to do this, but I really liked a lot of what he had to say, and since I don't have guests or interviews on the show quite yet, we'll hear from Alan Watts a little bit, some spoken word lecture type sound for you. And then let's see, we'll do I'll throw in some ambient records with that. I'm sure it's cheesy to some people, but I think you'll like how it goes here. We'll play some chill music, some Alan Watts. Me and Wally will just kind of chill out here, take in the vibes with you. We'll go on this journey together. So thanks for listening as always, and here we go.
So the whole game that our culture is playing is that nothing really happens unless it's in the newspaper. So when we are at a party and there's a great party, somebody said, it's too bad there wasn't a tape recorder. And so our children begin to feel that they don't exist authentically unless they get their names in the papers. And the fastest way of getting your name in the papers is to commit a crime. And then you'll be photographed, then you'll appear in court, then everybody will notice you. It really happened if it was recorded. In other words, if you shout and there doesn't come back an echo, it didn't happen. Well, that's a real hang-up. It's true, there's fun with echoes. We all like singing in the bathtub because there's more resonance there. And when we play a musical instrument like a violin or a cello, it has a sounding box because that gives resonance to the sound. And in the same way, the cortex of the human brain enables us, when we are happy, to know that we're happy. And that gives a certain resonance to it. If you're happy and you don't know you're happy, there's nobody home. But this is the whole problem for us. Several thousand years ago, human beings evolved the system of self-consciousness. And they knew. There was a young man who said, though, it seems that I know that I know. What I would like to see is the I that knows me when I know that I know that I know. See? And this is the human problem. We know that we know. And so there came a point in our evolution when we didn't guide life by just trusting our instincts, and had to think about it, and had to purposely arrange and discipline and push our lives around in accordance with foresight and words and systems of symbols, accountancy, calculation, and so on. And then we worry. Once you start thinking about things, you worry as to whether you've thought enough. Did you really take all the details into consideration? Was every fact properly reviewed? And by Jove, the more you think about it, the more you realize that you really couldn't take everything into consideration, because all the variables in any human decision are incalculable. So you get anxiety. And this, though, also, this is the price you pay for knowing that you know, for being able to think about thinking, to feel about feeling. And so you're in this funny position. Now then, do you see that this is simultaneously an advantage and a terrible disadvantage? What has happened here is that by having a certain kind of consciousness, a certain kind of reflexive consciousness, being aware of being aware, being able to represent what goes on fundamentally in terms of a system of symbols, such as words, such as numbers. You put, as it were, two lives together at once, one representing the other. The symbols representing the reality, the money representing the wealth. And if you don't realize that the symbol is really secondary, it doesn't have the same value. You know, people go to the supermarket and they get a whole cartload of goodies and they drive it through, and then the clerk fixes up the counter and this long tape comes out. And you say, $30, please. And everybody feels depressed, because they give away $30 worth of paper, but they got a cartload of goodies. And they don't think about that. They think they just lost $30. But you got the real wealth in the cart. All you parted with was the paper. Because the paper in our system becomes more valuable than the wealth. It represents power, potentiality, whereas the wealth, you think, oh, well, that's just necessary. You got to eat. Well, I mean, that's to be really mixed up. So then, if you awaken from this illusion, and you understand that black implies white, self implies other, life implies death, or shall I say, death implies life, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here by fluke, but you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. So, say in Hindu mythology, they say that the world is the drama of God. God is not something in Hindu mythology with a white beard that sits on a throne and that has royal prerogatives. God in Indian mythology is the self, Satchidananda, which means Sat, that which is, Chit, that which is consciousness, that which is Ananda is bliss. And in other words, what exists, reality itself, is gorgeous. It is the plenum, the fullness of total joy. Wow-wee. And all those stars, if you look out in the sky, as a firework display like you see on the 4th of July, which is a great occasion for celebration. The universe is a celebration. It is a firework show to celebrate that existence is. Wow-wee. And then they say, but however, there's no point just in sustaining bliss. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time. Or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Well, something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away. The nature of love is self-abandonment, not clinging to oneself. Throwing yourself out, as in, for example, in basketball, you're always getting rid of the ball. You say to the other fellow, have a ball, see? And that keeps things moving. That's the nature of life. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality, not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not. And it's perfectly okay to pretend you're not, to be absolutely convinced, because this is the whole notion of drama. When you come into the theater, there is a proscenium arch and a stage, and down there is the audience. And everybody assumes their seats in the theater and are going to see a comedy, a tragedy, a thriller, or whatever it is. And they all know as they come in and pay their admissions that what is going to happen on the stage is not for real. But the actors have a conspiracy against this, because they're going to try and persuade the audience that what is happening on the stage is for real. They want to get everybody sitting on the edge of their chairs. They want to get you terrified or crying or laughing. Absolutely captivated by the drama. And if a skillful human actor can take in an audience and make people cry, think what the cosmic actor can do. Why, he can take himself in completely. He can play so much for real that he really believes it is. Like you sitting in this room, you think you're really here. Why, you've persuaded yourself that way. You've acted it so damn well that you know this is the real world. But you're playing it. It's because the audience and the actor is one.
All right, welcome back to the DJJJ show, episode number 4. I'm DJJJ. I am here with my dog, Wally. He's a golden retriever. He's kind of my co-host right now until I get some other humans in here to talk to me or figure out how to record calls with them. And I think that last block of songs there made Wally a little tired. He is taking a nap on the floor. And hopefully you liked it. I know it might have been a little sleepy, but I tend to think of it as more meditative. That last track there was Rick Dietrich, Deep Within the Forest of the Heart. Solo guitar music, I believe from the 1970s. That's a reissue copy there. 1978 that came out. Gentle Wilderness is the title of that album by Rick Dietrich. And before that, I was playing some Alan Watts. He's a philosopher, lecturer, dude, historian, I guess, of some sort. I don't really know his whole deal but I do tend to like listening to his lectures for a few minutes at a time. So I was enjoying that one earlier this morning, and I figured I'd play that on the show with some ambient records. You know, I thought it was a good vibe. Hopefully you liked it too. And yeah, the music there was, before Rick Dietrich, was Chuck Johnson with Labradorite from his Balsams album from a few years back. That real beautiful ambient pedal steel with all the echo on it. That was Chuck Johnson. Good one. And before that was Roger Eno, brother of Brian Eno. Put out some great records if you find them. That one was Voices, that album's Voices. The song we heard was Reflections on IKB. And we had some reflections on the nature of reality and consciousness with Alan Watts there as well. So, you know, I like hearing that stuff. It gives me things to think about. And, you know, I'm sure you're getting tired of hearing me talk about myself all the time or talk about records. So I just figured we'd do something different today. But yeah, we don't have a ton of time left today, so I figured I'll just play some more records for you. I'll come back and tell you what they are to sign off. But thanks for joining me for episode number 4 of the DJJJ show. I'm DJJJ, just spinning records, having a good time, and hopefully you'll listen to episode 5 and however many more episodes we do after that. I promise I'll try to keep it fresh for you. Let's pick up the pace a little bit and listen to some dancey jams. This one's by Sun Palace. Hey, it's DJJJ again, getting ready to close out episode number 4 of the DJJJ show. That music you just heard, that last track was Beast Moon Sound System with Aqua Como, and before that was Sun Palace with Coral Reef. A couple of more upbeat jams since today's program was so laid back. I'm going to play one more for you. It's a shorty, and I'm going to get out of here. And hopefully I will talk to you again in episode 5. I have been told that we're going to have a special guest on episode 5. So it won't just be me and you, but, we'll still have a good time. I think you'll probably enjoy hearing me chat with somebody else for once, too. So for me and Wally, thanks for joining us for episode number 4. This last track is by World Standard from the Asago record. The name of the track here is West is West, and yes, it is just kind of a lo-fi sounding track, so no, it's not recorded badly on the podcast. It's just an older tape that was from their earliest years, and it's a little rough, but it's a very charming song, so hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon. Have a good one. Thanks for listening.